Continuing our study in the book of James, we're going to pick up here in verse 10, and if you find this interesting, you can look at the linked video, or you could go to my site here on YouTube and look at the playlist. And if you like what you hear, like, subscribe, hit that bell. I'm just kidding, I'm not that person, but we are going to look at verse 10. It says, Take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. So it was not just the message of the prophets that was important. It was also the example of the lives that they lived. And in this case, the death that they died. We look at Isaiah. Tradition tells us that he was sawn in two. This is likely referenced in Hebrews chapter 11. Jeremiah, we're told, was stoned to death. And going into the New Testament, we read of the 12 disciples. And tradition tells us that all but one, John, were martyred for their faith, including the author of this book, James, who tradition tells us was the brother of Jesus, and a disciple, but not necessarily an apostle. But these men found, and women, they found something more precious than life itself. They found the gospel. And I'm going to tell you, if you haven't found something worth dying for, then you're not fit to live. The gospel and the truths it contains have been more precious in the eyes of millions than their own lives, their own existence, their own family, their occupation, their jobs, their hopes, their dreams, their careers, their bank accounts, their toys. The gospel surpasses it all in importance. And so, it's not just the death that we die, because frankly, that's probably the easier part compared to the life that we live. They suffered affliction throughout their life. For what? They suffered it for the truth's sake. They suffered it for the gospel. And they also suffered it patiently. So my friends, I want you to think not just about the message of the Bible. I want you to think about its value. Is it worth suffering for in this life? Is it worth dying for if it came down to it? And frankly, why don't you just ask yourself this on a much more basic level? If you had to choose, could you go without the Bible for a month or Instagram for a month? Could you go without the Bible for a month or Netflix for a month? Could you go without the Bible for a month or cake for a month? Could you go without caffeine for a month or the Bible? Yeah, I just want to ask you, what's most important in your life?